Boom. Alrighty. We are there. Again, by default, 5-minute standard, unrated. If you'd like something different, Fisher random or faster time control or a combination of the two, feel free. If you're playing, make sure to mute that stream. Nobody wants to be a listener of the stream because I throw out sneaky duds. Sneaky duds that you might bite. You might bite at the sneaky duds. Okay. What does that mean? What just happened there? I have a bit more control over the center. Do I just play d5 right away? If push, I could throw my knight here. There could then follow another push, and I could be having some structural issues. I'm just going to go with this. Establish a pawn in the center, pave the way for my dark square bishop. Could be a little bit annoying. I could be a little bit more annoying to white's queen side. As soon as this capture occurs, I could view it as controlling the center a bit more, and I could put direct pressure on the heart of this structure, b2. However, I think there's a convenient response. Rook here, the bishop could drop back. Let's do it anyhow. Let us do that anyhow. I think bishop b3 is not a good choice. Why not? Why would that not be a good choice? Bishop a6. That's the no soup for you move. No castling for you move. Bishop c5 or bishop e7. Bishop c5 would say you're going to have to work a little bit harder to get this f4 advance in. And, well, maybe I want to make my opponent work a little harder. Work a little harder. Castle next, and eventually, well, how do you complete the queenside development? Could be quite annoying. Keep in mind the strength of bishops that function on adjacent diagonals. If white wants to complete development by bishop back and then bringing this guy out, bishop a6 I think could be quite annoying. Let me castle. So f4, how do you follow up? f4, let me just d6, okay. Apparently this is getting ready to be played, b4. Maybe I just go a5. b4 I could play bishop here. Let me just go a5. That's more of a, I don't know if it's best, but I think it's a good practical choice. Just immediately kind of throwing my pawn up there and preventing probably the one thing that white was intending on doing. Should I have any fear of pins? Actually, one thing that I think is a bit annoying is maybe I'm never threatening to take this pawn if should the bishop move because of knight a4 with the fork. So that has me slightly worried. I wonder, however, about bishop d. No. Wait a second. Or no, yeah, I'm thinking about this still. Why did I just make that sound? No. I'm thinking, oh, okay, so as soon as the queen left control over d5, I could get this in. d5. Right now? d5 takes. If queen takes pawn, she's on my bishop and rook, but I have bishop to d6 hitting the queen, and then I could take the bishop. Follow that? d5 I think I could get in. Takes. I'm on it enough. If it's hit again, I could be defending again. If I'm in a pin, I'm going to go forward with it. It's very forcing. Oh, also another thing is I could develop with tempo. Bishop g4 and maybe provoke this. Let me recapture. I should have been in pre-move mode with that. Bishop g4, if something like this is played, then the king is in stalemate. Okay, so what am I missing? Oh, man, that's what I'm missing? I'm going to be dropping stuff? Is that what's happening? Oh, no. Okay, so I should have considered this. But I have a good reply. Bishop here. Bishop here or bishop here defends against the rook and the knight. Is there any one that is better? Is there something more forceful? Might there be back rank issues for white? Bishop right here? It seems a bit more cozy to go there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get out of this pin. I'm wondering, do I go here? Where do I go? Let's just go here. Everything is defended. I think my opponent was saying that they could eventually get at my knight, but unfortunately, okay, well, unprotected pieces leads to tactics, right? Sometimes pins and stuff like that, but they could also help you get out of tactics. So if my opponent thinks there's some tactic in that of this pin, I have the ability to get out of that with a similar tactic of exploiting the queen's unprotected nature on e5. So if rook here, I could have been playing queen c7 or f6, and if captured, I could be retreating the knight and my piece is saved. I could grab this pawn, but maybe I just want to be in a position where I could do what? Maybe just attack that queen. I gotta play quicker. Bishop here, I'm pointing now right at h2. h2, so if I'm able to play queen h4, I can maybe attack the bishop or the pawn. There might be some combination of taking here and then playing queen h4 or queen h4 first. I think white needs to play something like queen h5 to prevent my queen from coming out here. I could maybe still be kicking the queen around a little bit with g6. Okay, she's not playing there, so I think that my opponent is... My opponent wanted to... Oh, I could have just taken the queen. They mouse-slipped that. They wanted to take back immediately, and that's what they got. That's what they got. They got to take back. So where did she really mean to go? She meant to go here to offer queen exchange. That's my favorite, and I'm up a piece, so I'm going to go forward with it. I have to be a bit careful. I was thinking about rook here to attack the bishop. However, after bishop takes knight, bishop takes rook here, I'm in some trouble. So how do you get out of this? You retreat the knight, create some tension between the bishops, and, well, I'm up a piece. No, well, okay, yeah, I'm up a minor piece. My opponent does have two pawns for. I still have pressure on the heart. Now I'm hitting the bishop and this pawn, and things are much, much more smooth right here. If the bishop has to go back home, that is a sad situation. So what do you do? Okay. That's a pawn that should be taken. Keep in mind the strength of being able to take out that middle pawn of a group of three. These guys now become weak, and you could target them. So these are just, I believe, going to fall one by one. This pawn is pinned. Just I have to make certain of a flight square. If I'm going to go with the flight square, I'm going to do that. I don't have to do that right now, but I'm going to create a dark colored flight square. Dark colored flight square off of this guy. Stay away from the dark squares if your opponent has one bishop remaining and it's on a dark square. So what do you do? It's not best, but I'm just going to make sure there's no trickiness. Avoid the trickiness. I think rook a2 was probably best. But there's no rush. Slight improvements. Time is probably the only issue, if at all. 43 seconds is still quite a bit. He is very good. Okay, now this rook is being hit. This is... I'm going to be up a full rook soon. A full rook. And soon to be mate. Soon to be mate. This pawn is also ready to score. Ready to score. Alright, we have resignation. Good game, Legoo. Let me back up. Flip. What were the things that caught my eye? One thing out of this Sveshnikov, don't take. Do not take on c6. I don't think it's a good choice to help build the center and allow me to put pressure on this b2 pawn. Instead, knight c3, e5, knight d to b5, and we continue in theory for some time, so it's worth investigating that line, but I would not consider knight takes c6 as my first choice. This I think is fine. Well, this pawn, maybe immediately go forward with this. I think where the tables really shifted and I saw an advantage is when I was able to play d5 with tempo. even if you don't end up going in for this sequence of moves. Maybe you're thinking you could get a pawn or the piece back. I do not believe that that is the case. So instead of making the queen move, still keep a close eye on this pawn. Consider maybe what? Maybe what? You could consider, just as I was saying in the game, you could still bring the bishop out and have available to you knight a4 should I take on b2. So I think from here, instead of queen to d2, even right now, hang on, instead of a3, I'm not sure that that's really a good one to go forward with. Are you really threatening b4? Is that something I should worry about? I think you run the risk of just putting this knight into an uncomfortable state in a pin. So maybe do without a3, b4 idea. Instead, consider f4 and... Well, no, actually, I'm seeing another reason for a3. Let me retract this. This a3 idea, like if you bring the bishop out now, rook takes pawn, knight a4, you would have, or I would have, rook to b4, hitting the bishop. So a3 at least takes away that b4 square, and it allows the bishop to move. So maybe it's okay. But here, queen e2, f4, bishop out are the other ones I think you should be considering. d5, I have a center, and this is just not a good capture to go forward with. At first, I thought it was could work out in your favor because of how active your queen was after she captures on e5, hitting the rook and having lateral movement along that 5th rank, but it's just not really working out. So it's a dead game at that point. Okay, good game, Lagu. Let me get out of this game.